it will encounter the experience. So it would maybe we will spend much more time in crafting the right words, in crafting the right visuals, because everything will be much more easier to build.
Welcome to No Code Like a Pro. I'm Nicola Toledo, founder of No Code Pro, a professional Webflow development studio. We specialize in turning Figma designs into scalable Webflow website and web apps. You can find more information in the description below. The goal of this series is to show you how the no-code movement is evolving, becoming more and more professional, and how professional designers, developers, and makers are using these tools to create advanced digital products such as website and web app. First episode of No Code Like a Pro, and today I'm here with Paul Romero. Hi, Paul, and please introduce yourself. What is your background, and what do you do now?
So thanks all. Thanks, Nicola, for having me. And well, my name is Paul Romero, as Nicola was saying, and I'm a former designer. So I usually spend all my day trying to design stuff like interfaces, particularly dashboards. And I've been doing this for like more than 10 years. And in the last 3 years, I have become a freelancer, and I am based in Italy, so in Italy, Milan, and I usually work with startups and scale ups over all Europe, and particularly in Italy and Spain.
How do you use, as a professional designer, in your case, the no-code platform? Okay, we know when we talk about no-code, some people think, I just, for the very beginner, easy things. But I want to know
Mhm.
from your perspective as a professional designer, how is helping you no-code, in particular the professional no-code tools?
Okay, so I will share my screen so I can show you
Yes.
what is my process behind this. Um, I usually use a lot of tools from no code to validate ideas, to build prototypes, high fidelity prototypes for clients that require some deeper user research or user testing. So, like, I want to be able to give the users a real prototype that they can actually use, and they can actually give me feedback without having all the fuzziness of trying to build a prototype with tools like Figma or Protopie that usually requires a lot of work, and for me it's kind of costly since I'm only the only designer, and I tend to build the tools for my clients that actually want to have something that it's tangible, that it's much more um, in progression of done than
Mhm.
a prototype with Figma. But I usually start in Figma for the ideas. So as you see here, I'm actually building a new landing page for a service that I was already have built in the previous years. And the basically the first landing page was this one. This is in Italian, and it's saying like, "Hey, we're a community of designers for designers." So I've created this community a few years ago in 2007 or 2017, and this type of community kept doing events until 2020 when the COVID kicks in, and so we decided then to stop the events, and then we have abandoned the idea of this community. But what I wanted to do, it's like, is this the end? So no, I would like to get better in the community. I would like to have new types um, of idea, so I can work well with a new landing page. And by doing this, I start only to post-its that can help me to understand why are you looking for this? Why are you looking at those systems? Why you are here in this particular section? What is your uh, your understanding for this particular section. So I usually work in terms of questions that the page usually respond to the user when the user visits those sections. So like when you are in the hero part, I usually wanted to know what is the core topic of this landing page, and we need to be very clear with a clear copy that tell us very rapidly what we are doing right now. So you were saying me before that you are very interested, Nicola, in seeing the part of artificial intelligence related to design. So this is another type of idea that I'm building. So I would like to create a community that is similar to small bets and indie community masterminds and all these types of communities. So basically, I would like to I basically just start to have a few screenshots of these indirect competitors and direct competitors, but they are not based in Europe as myself, and they usually based worldwide and for bigger audiences that what I am looking for. So I'm looking for a much more smaller community in Europe and not worldwide.
Mm.
So I just took ideas from it. I just go to all the pages and then I left post-its in it. And also this one had a really nice onboarding process when you were entering the community, and I like that a lot. So by doing this, I was saying to myself, okay, I want to do the same thing, but I want to actually be different from them. So what pain do I want to solve? What jobs do they currently do? So what jobs my target are usually looking for, and who do you guess has this pain? So I'm trying to guess in who can have this pain, because I don't know yet. I don't have any evidence to it other than looking to different types of communities, and why they should come to me to resolve their pain, and how much they would like to pay us for solving their pain. So
Mm.
this everything starts with hypothesis based, so assumptions, and in this particular case, uh, the pain that I'm trying to solve, it's that usually I talk with people that find a community where they can post, they cannot maybe post freely, and they usually being judged because there are so much people into it. So it's easier to feel in like overwhelmed by all the content in those communities, and they usually have problems to really uh, find same goals. People
Mhm.
like have the same goals as me, and I also like to have daily motivation so I can keep building and keep learning from it. So by doing a few interviews with a few people from these communities that you have seen here, I started to build like the first idea. So first of all, I wanted to build like no code designer.io. So much more like no coding and AI, but for designers. So I was like solopreneurs building micro products with no code and AI, and this before was designers building micro products with no code and AI. Then I went through a second iteration because I was talking with different types of users, and I do this actually in Framer. So I
Nice.
build different types of landing pages,
Mhm.
and I send those landing pages to friends of mine or Reddit communities where I can discuss with them. And usually, what happens is that people gives you their impression of what you're saying, and they give you a lot of feedback, especially communities or groups. They are very willing to share some type of feedback, and there are tons of that in Reddit and also on Discord. And I went through different type of iterations, and the ones that you're seeing here from the third iteration onto the fourth one, they were born from GPT, as you see here. So like I'm using a framework that is called CD, and this is a framework that that was created by Gianluca Mauro, who is a professor in Harvard, and he actually has done a few courses, and I take one of them. And the course was about creating and trying to learn what is prompt engineering and how can you improve your way on how to talk with GPT, and how can you think about a prototype where you can actually have GPT that is actually helpful for you. So right now, as you see here, I've used this framework that is called CD, and the C stands for context. So right now, I'm saying where is the context, or why do I need the naming, and what are the all the elements behind this naming that I want to build. So I'm testing a new business idea that matches European solopreneurs and freelancers to create micro digital products and online services. Our target are technical people from marketing to development and design, and we aim for the best human beings. So the instruction was to propose different naming, at least 10, to name the idea. Details: don't use combined names. Create the first 5 naming with an invented word that resound similar keywords to our context. So I wanted to say to GPT that I would like to use keywords that are similar, but not like having the exact keywords, in the naming, because I think that that's a little bit cheap for me. So the last 5 naming, I wanted to have much more SEO friendly, and also propose different type of taglines that could help me in the SEO ranking. And the input, it's where you usually try to, if you're not happy with the prompt, you usually give input to the GPT, and so you can have a better output that it's what you actually want. So this is like the results, the first results from GPT, and what ProLens, Diginectus, Skillexus, Tangbine, and so that went for it for at least I think 2 or 3 iterations, and then we arrived at the final ones that was much more better. And I was saying here that I liked this one. So Solotech, Digicrax were very nice, especially in Noviteam, or Solotech or Digicrax were very nice and without being so much cheaper. So I said to GPT, the invented words are good. Take a similar approach and propose new naming for invented words. Make short the SEO-friendly naming. Use also keywords like UX, code, tools, design thinking, solopreneurs. So
So
naming
sorry,
with
Paul. Do
yeah,
you try different type of prompt, or do
yes,
you like? Okay,
yes. Usually here, this was like the I think 4th or 5th prompt
okay,
after the first one. So
okay.
it's like
I'm telling you this because usually I
yeah.
sometimes try to ask or Chat GPT or some AI platform,
Mhm.
give me this type of concept, and then I try to make my own version. What we are
Okay.
trying to do is, that ChatGPT in this case need to give you exactly the same the text that you want, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be able to reach a point where I say, I think that I'm okay with it. Maybe I want to change slightly, but I'm very happy with the result.
Okay, like 90%. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, perfect.
But yeah, I'm basically saying this because after this, I really like the words that he gave me here. So, like Intrelio was very nice. Nexilix was a little bit much difficult to pronounce, and so I think that chi nova was very nice, and also in Italian, chi innova means like who innovates, and it's very nice. So I changed this in like something like this, keinnova.io, and then I've done another type of iteration. So like GPT was telling me that a word with track was nice. So they proposed me a few words like were similar to the word track. So I get the Luma for myself, and then I add it to the track one. But because I have some ideas that it's similar to it, and so I went with it. So I'm between these both ideas. I like them very much, and I just wanted to know which kind of naming it's much more in target with my future user will be. But yeah, also the tagline is definitely for me very good. So this gives you the real idea that what I want to build. So matching European solopreneurs and freelancers to create micro digital products and online services. That's it. I'm not talking to employees. I'm not talking to students. I'm not talking to big corporate CEOs or corporate people. I just want to talk to solopreneurs and freelancers that they
Okay,
want to create micro digital products.
nice. So I have a few questions for you
Yep.
after this beautiful presentation. Really, I'm sure that is helpful. I'm not a designer, and
Mm-hmm.
every time I talk with you, pro designers, I'm really it's amazing. And maybe with the time, I would love to be more skilled, no, also in this area.
Yeah.
So talking about no code platform, I'm curious to know uh, in what percentage do you think is useful for your work?
Okay. Right now, I guess the it's like between 25 and 35%. I guess so. Of my total work that it's been shifted in tools in no code like Webflow or Framer or Bubble.
Okay.
That I think that these three are the ones that I usually in the past.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Okay, this is very important because that show how important it is to be skilled in, like I would say, the principle of design. I'm telling this because some people think again that you need to know with Figma, with Framer, I can build everything. I don't know how to code and to know how to design, and I can create a beautiful website. Actually, no. Of course, if you buy a template, yes, that's easy. You can edit a few text, but to create from scratch, like what you're doing, in your project, I think is
Yeah.
different. What do you think about this? How can you deliver professional product as a designer in your case? You think with no code tools, like it will take me, I don't know, 1 month, or I need to study first?
I think that you actually need to study to make a difference, because this is something that I was talking with a few solopreneurs that usually build these websites, but not because they are designers. They are different from different backgrounds. So a few of them come from marketing studies, and a few of them come from visual design studies. And so it depends, I think. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is being able to design something that it's for your user, for your target. But what actually happens is that today the perception of visual design and the web around you,
Mhm.
it's much more colorful, much more interactive, much more with much more details than 10 or 15 years ago. So maybe 10 years ago you was able to create to take out a landing page or even a blog by downloading some type of template from Creato for Envato, sorry, and
Yes.
you just upload it onto the internet, and then that's it. You will acquire views
Hmm.
and you will reach your goals. Today it's different because uh, all the people can actually create sites, websites. I mean, you can create by buying a template, and also the templates right now are much more cheaper than a few years ago. And so I think that the barrier for designing a website it's very low, but what it's high today is what can you do to not just build a website, but to build a much more richer experience, you know? So I think that you need to study for it. Maybe I can show you some type of other work that it's much more, that have all those types of components to it.
Yes. Also, I'm curious to know every time I talk with a designer like you, what so as a developer, what is
Yeah.
my what I should like concentrate the most.
Hmm.
Like this designer told me, like focus on font. Font are very very important. I
Yeah.
was not expecting that. I was thinking, maybe colors and spacing. Also, this is very important. The space, between
Yeah. It's
text
true.
to. So, what is like for you three main, I would say, areas? No, as a developer, if tomorrow I want to start to be a designer, to
Yeah.
focus.
Okay. So basically, there's one thing to say, that there are okay, well, there are different types of design, but when we are talking about the part that it's much more visual, we're talking about visual design and UI design and graphic design and everything that it's much more aesthetically pleasing. But what I was trying to say before, it's that if you only want to take out that from the design perspective, all you need to do it's like uh, go through Dribble, Behance, different types of medias that today have a lot of visual appealing items, and
Okay.
then like get all together on Miro and try to steal what you really like and combine it. And with the experience,
Nice.
you will get to know what works better than other things. So like this one that I'm showing to you, uh, the font was very very important, because it's like this fonts for who it's much more font wise. Let's put it this way. It reminds a font that it's called circular. It's not like circular, okay, but it's similar to circular. So I don't know if I can show you this, but I will try to. Circular font, and there is like this font family that's called circular, and circular was the font that was used. I don't know if they're using today actually, but it was like the first font or the second font used by Spotify.
Hmm.
I will tell you that if they have today. I don't. I don't know actually. Yeah, this is actually the same, the circular one, and this font was very very on very trendy a few years ago, but actually it's costly to have it because it's a font that it's you need to pay for it, and usually the best fonts you need to pay for it. And for me it always worked like this, because when you have when you can the secret for me is that find type foundries. So if you go to your search browser, and if you go to type foundries, uh, you can find a lot of type foundries that are very very cool, very have crazy fonts, but they usually you need to spend time, you need to spend budget to have these types of fonts
Okay.
in your arsenal of objects that you can use on your designs. So for this one that I was showing to you, the color was decided because I've I try to think about what is the target of this type of product that I'm building. So I'm building a landing page for a workshop on AI, artificial intelligence, and design thinking. And this workshop will be for entrepreneurs, freelancers, students, and employees. So what I wanted to do is like having something that is it can remind you of a visual that is similar to Accenture, or it's much more cleaner, much more professional, because I'm saying I'm doing a workshop like this. So also the animations are very subtle, and they are not that much heavy.
Micro interaction.
Micro
Oh, bro.
interactions, yeah,
Micro interaction.
yeah. And so like this one, also the entrance, everything is very, very subtle, not that much. Only, you know, that those kind of interactions that can give you the idea that something is moving, but not everything. It's like full with the micro interactions and everything like that. So, and also you can see, if I click here, I can go through this one. And for this one, there is another type of target that I want to talk into. Much people that is much more younger, much more trendy, and so I'm changing the background, making much more joyful, because the target is different from this one, from the one that I showed to you. And I think that it's that you need to first focus on what is the goal of your design. With Thesignof, I'm talking to designers, so black and white, where black background was my first choice, and also Swiss design use white and red colors, and also black. But yeah, my goal was like I wanted to create something that it's appealing to the target that I actually want to have some use to my landing.
Mhm.
Otherwise, that will not be a great design for me. So it always depends on the target.
Absolutely amazing. So I would say that this is the key difference,
Yeah,
why a client is going to you, because you are able to translate, my thought that I want to create, my idea in a real website that is actually different, from maybe what I was expecting, of course, but can really reach the type of target, that I'm trying to arrive. So each design is like a story. At the end, you
yeah.
can tell a story with your design. Amazing. I want to talk with you about Framer. You mentioned Framer. I know that you
Yeah.
like Framer. I know that a lot of designers love Framer and Webflow. Okay, let's talk about these two platforms. I know that you use have you used Webflow in the past? I know
Mhm.
you're more like Framer oriented.
Okay, so I think that if you want to build something that is very appealing and pleasing with Webflow, you need to have some code in it. You need to use GZAP for animations, for interactions. You need to have custom code.
Mm.
Otherwise, you will not reach the type of animations, the type of
Experience.
cleanliness experience
Mhm.
that you want to build. Of
Okay.
course, you can build the websites with Webflow without having all the interactions. But for me, today, I spend much less time in Framer designing and much more time in animating, slowly animating, and maybe creating CMS also. It's very funny and it's very easy and fun on Framer. But for me, Webflow right now is a tool that I can use, but for clients. So a client comes to me and said, okay, I have a brief. I will then build their project first on Figma, and then I will move to Webflow. So when
Okay.
all the client has approved all the screens on Figma, then I can move to the next step. So it's going from Figma to Webflow. With
Okay.
Framer, it's much easier. So I don't usually design if I need to design from the start. So as you see before, I was showing you the landing page about the workshop.
Mhm.
that I not have designed this that on Figma. So I went straight to Framer because I always kept Figma on my second screen, but it was much more like, okay, I want just to test out some colors, some gradients, and it's much more simpler to do it in Figma than doing it in Framer. So I usually use what requires less time and gives me the best outcome for me and for the use case that I'm trying to build.
Okay, perfect. So let's say that you have a client. Okay, I want
Yeah.
to build a landing page. Landing page, I think that you will use Framer in
Yeah.
that case. So when is the use case for Webflow? When will you
Oh.
use
Mhm.
Webflow?
Okay, I will also use Webflow for landing pages, but maybe they are much more complex. So what I
Mm.
like about Webflow is that you have integrations to it, apps that they have integrated this a few months ago, I think, and that for me is a game changer because I can add Stripe. I can
Mm.
add some types of payments. So maybe I'm trying to build a landing and then I want the people just to buy my 2 items. And I can use actually different tools that can give me that opportunity. With Framer, you are much more limited, of course, because there are
Okay.
not so much services. So I will always use a Framer for something that I will delete at some point because I will need to improve it and I will need to go in a better tool.
Mhm.
And Webflow, I think it's much more professional right now. Maybe a few years ago was much more easier, but they keep improving and also making the platform a little bit much more complex. So I have a lot of students that are trying to design websites, and for them it's much more difficult to start than when I was starting in Webflow.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. And this is, after also the Webflow conference
Yeah.
2023 now, the rebrand is not clearly to say we are not a designer platform. We are a professional development tool. That's why personally, I love Webflow more than Framer because I'm a developer and I see Webflow more easy, to use as a developer, and also more it's more easy to extend. Framer, I tried Framer, and actually I think I will use Framer for my portfolio one day because it's
Hmm.
definitely not easy and quick. But for more complex, big project, multi-page, I think Webflow is still the best option for that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I also, yeah, I think the same. Maybe Framer, it's also good for blogs, but I mean, you you probably will need to add some type of custom code if you want to have some type of interaction, or even so. Put it this way: I try to build Thesignof with
Mhm.
the landing page with Framer at first, but they haven't any type of services that can connect to a mail account, so some type of email services. So I wanted to I don't want it to use Mailchimp because they have Mailchimp, but it's much more costly, Mailchimp. So I wanted to use other tools like Tally or sorry, like MailerLite
Mhm.
that is much helpful to sending newsletter, and I cannot do it in Framer. So I went to Webflow, and the development of the page was much more complex, but at the end, the result was better in Webflow that in Framer. So
Okay,
yeah,
perfect. So what is your main no-code platform right now? Like your number one platform?
that I'm using or that I think that they are the best because
Both.
uh, both.
That in
Okay.
general for you, or that you actually are using, for your job,
Okay.
for your
So
daily job.
in general, I think that maybe today Webflow gives you superpowers, especially for dashboards, for even for apps. I'm seeing right now that people is trying to use it for doing
Web
web
apps.
apps. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I think that's a very game changer, because web apps are much more complex to build. And
Have you ever tried Wiz
yeah,
for Webflow?
yes, I've seen Wiz. I've not tried it, but yeah, this is something that I want to try it in definitely in the 2024. I I think Framer right now it's my main no code platform, because I'm using it so much for short projects. But
Okay.
I think that I will move again to Webflow on from a month from now.
Yes. Something that Framer is doing well also is the pricing for the like landing
Mm.
pages. It's $5 per month. You don't
Yes.
have this type of option in Webflow. So that also, if you want to create again small website, landing pages, small blogs, I think is the right option. And actually, I would like to do with you maybe another video
Hmm.
some Webflow Wiz integration to create like a
Yes.
small web app, because
Hmm.
Wiz now is evolving. Finally, is in the Webflow marketplace,
Hmm.
and now they are pushing maybe in the next few months embed 2. So now we have
Yes.
Wiz version 2, embed 1 in the live version. They are building the embed 2.0. Okay,
Okay.
that is a big change, and actually with that version will be much more easy to create everything inside Wiz. So the perfect stack is Webflow, Wiz, and Xano. Do you know Xano?
Yes, the backend for no code, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know
So
it.
that is the stack that I personally use, to create web apps
Hmm.
with Webflow. So Webflow website and web app are today, the best. But like you said, there is a use case for every platform,
Yeah.
So it's impossible to say, yeah, we create everything with Webflow, everything with Framer, everything with Bubble. You mentioned Bubble also.
Yes.
Also, WeWeb is another platform that I
Hmm.
like personally. It's just the front end, but each one is really specific for a problem.
Yeah.
Personally, I love Webflow. The design and experience is unique right
Hmm.
now. I don't know in the future. Talking about future, what do you think about AI and no-code development? Will be that the perfect combination? Will that replace our job? Someone, I don't know if you heard, some people
Yeah.
are worried. Yeah, no-code, that will be killer for us, developer and designer. What do you think?
Well, I think that maybe it will not definitely take the work from us. That's I know for sure. It will take the work from people that it's not that are not currently innovating. So one particular user persona that I'm worried about are employees that today are not. So today maybe they are using new tools, but they are not delivering um, the websites and the experience that are today in 2023. So I'm talking a lot in Italy. We have a few. We have a lot of people that actually don't know Webflow, don't know Framer. They usually tend to do things very differently, and I find the same thing in also in France, in
Mhm.
Spain, in all the South Europe, and you have like the someone that is able to give the good animations, good interactions, good strategy, and but at the same time they are the unicorns. I'm not saying that we are the unicorns, but we are definitely not a type of freelancer that you encounter that easy.
Mhm.
And so I'm much worried about the employees and freelancers that today are not using these tools, because I think that they
They're missing a
yeah,
lot.
they're missing a lot. And
Absolutely.
one day it will happen for them, it will happen like in months. But for us, it's something that we are seeing, I think, from the start of GPT or even before. So I think that these tools, no code tools, AI tools, everything needs to be really well thought, and you need to thinking about what problem am I solving today, and what tool can I use to solve this problem that gives me the better outcome and the better output for me or for my client.
Absolutely.
That's
And
why.
that's where the professional, play a big role,
Yeah, yeah.
because of course, with my experience, 8 years developing stuff, I know a lot of framework and now no code tools. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the point, when someone come to me, they have a problem. How we can resolve this problem in the best and fastest way. And that's where, you pay. That's what you pay. You
Yes.
know, if you want to do by yourself, like I had a client a few months ago, he was trying to build a product and he wanted to try it by himself. Okay. He's spent like, I think 2 or 3 months. And at the end, he spent a lot of money, tried to hire other freelancers, nothing, Then in 1 month, I give him the product. Why? Like you said, experience. And that is where the experience, arrive and play the big role. So it's not the no code tool, it's who is behind, like
Yeah.
the photography. That is the
Yeah.
same, The
Yeah. Yeah.
photography, I mean, a nice camera is perfect to the great picture, but the main point is who is behind the camera, who is taking the picture. And I think that is the same. Yeah, so also I agree with you. No code and AI will help us, to create better product more faster, but will never replace the human, our experience, the feeling. Also because not each case is the same, maybe can looks like it's the same, but actually in the reality, look in the context, is different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe you can create also the design is different. So I'm 100% with you on that. And also you open a big topic about no code Webflow in Italy and in other country, in Europe. But for us, like, Webflow, it's been here years. But actually,
Yes.
no, we are pioneering, this movement. Not even,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, in Italy. In my experience, there are like a few Webflow developers. I'm sure that there are more, but that I
Yeah. Yeah.
see, on LinkedIn, and the community is very little. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
still a lot of things to do and to do. So I'm excited now that we are here in this moment, trying all these different tools. And so, do you have some advice for like who is trying to maybe enter in this new field? Uh, like, I'm a designer, I'm starting now, or I'm a developer, I want to be a designer. What do I do? And what maybe no code platform I can focus? We have already talked about Webflow and Framer,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but also there's Figma. There's a lot of others like things.
Different tools. Yeah. So first of all, I think you need to, if I'm talking about design, you need to understand what type of design gives you much more joy, or it's much more easier for you to do in a daily basis. So for me, actually, it's not visual design. I'm starting to hate visual design, even though I just show you visual design. But I usually like to do much more UX work, thinking work on how can I deliver a type of experience to a final user, and this requires different type of skills. So like being able to create a questionnaire, asking the right questions, uh, give user interviews, so talk with people, ask questions to people, listen to people. And I think that's another type of design that is much more service design, business design, UX design, that not always involve aesthetic and visual design. And that's one type of design. And the other type that it's much more common to everyone, I guess, it's like visual or aesthetic design. So UI design, UX UI design, that usually requires some type of output, visual output that you can create. So if you want to follow that path, for me, the first thing that you need to do is like steal and replicate whatever you can. It's this is how everyone started. So by looking at things that are actually pleasing to you first, replicate those designs, and then ask feedback for those designs. And the best way to do this is like trying to think about that your design is actually resolving a business problem, because this is something that happens a lot to a lot of people, to a lot of young designers that start. You are not actually making something beautiful, but you are actually making something that works for a business and that can improve someone's life or make it much easier. I don't know, but yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Design is everywhere, no? Someone said.
yeah, yeah. Design is everywhere. Is everything that we have is design around us.
Exactly. Nice, Paul. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have one last question
Yep.
for you. Where do you see no code in the future?
Mm-hmm.
You think it's something that will grow, continue to grow, or maybe will die? This is very like just
Okay.
your opinion, your
Yeah.
feelings about no
My
code.
feelings about no code, it's that in the future it will be much more easier to do everything. So the barrier, it's like I don't know, a few years ago, a lot of years ago, it was very hard to take a picture. Okay.
Mm.
So it was very hard to take a picture. You need to go to a room where everything was lightless, and you need to develop the photograph, and then
Yeah,
everything was very much more handy, work manual, and everything like this. And today we are actually living the same experience, but in programs within the computer.
absolutely.
But yeah, so we are in a phase where we will need to design moving the mouse over, writing things on the keyboard, and then explain a few concepts to the machine, to the computer. But in the future, I think that will be much more easier. So it will be a game changer on how you think, on how have you encountered those problems that you will encounter even tomorrow, because how a user interacts with a website, how a user interacts with a service, with a product, it will always be similar, because we are all humans after all.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is something that will not change the human behavior. What it will change is like how we'll be able to get feedback from those humans. So it will be much more easier to do landing websites, web apps, and everything like that. It will encounter the experience. So it would maybe we will spend much more time in crafting the right words, in crafting the right visuals, because everything will be much more easier to build. You
Exactly.
know.
That's exactly why I love no code. That's why I'm using no code tools, because let me
Hmm.
focus on what is most important. For me, for the client. When you write code, you have a lot of things that you have to worry about. With no
Yeah.
code, it's less, and always less. So I also see that type of things for the future. Less worried, more time in actually what is more important, not for you, for your
Hmm.
client, and for deliver a better product. Amazing, Paul. Thank you so much. How people can find you?
So maybe my website and hola.pjbr.me, and that's my basically my main website, and also LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I think in 2024 I will start, thanks to you all, also to have content in English, so it's much more understandable for people that are not from Italy.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for watching. If you like, please let me know pressing the like button, leaving a comment, subscribe. You can find all the information in the description below, and see you in the next one.